Hi there, Finnegan here at the Long Road Festival at Stanford Hall, or Lutterworth, or Leicestershire, how you want to say it. And I have the wonderful Sykamore with us at the Long Road Festival. Obviously, this is the UK country / folk Americana kind of festival. How have you felt that? Is it different to the States and Canada, or is it?
Well, this is what I always hear this compared from the States and the UK. Is the UK crowds are they will preface this and say, don't be alarmed if the crowd is a little bit quiet, because they're actually it's them being polite. It doesn't mean that they're not into it. It's because they're listening, and it's quite nice because they're very intentional about listening to your lyrics. Whereas in the US, I feel crowds are a little more intent on getting maybe a little bit rowdy. And just because that doesn't happen here doesn't mean that it's a bad thing, because I feel like it actually makes a lot of room, especially for newer artists like me who are, trying to convey their story and trying to really lyrically kind of push the narrative and get people to get to know them. It's actually helpful in that way. So
yeah, I think that's why one thing that the country music is quite popular here is because of its storytelling. And a lot of your music is storytelling, written and sung, obviously, a lot better than we could ever articulate and stuff like that. So, and a lot of people have their own angst, and your music seems to convey that. So, it's been wonderful. I saw you perform yesterday on the front porch, which was fantastic. And you put a lot of storytelling into your performance. You like to tell the audience about the meaning of a lot of your songs.
Yeah.
Is that something that you deliberately do, or do you like to keep a little ambiguity with your music?
I think I like to do it, especially when yesterday was an acoustic setting, right? And so I feel like especially with most of the audience, I would assume don't know me. It didn't know me before yesterday. And so I do like to, in those instances, take the time to kind of tell a little more of my story, because I think that's how people find their way in to getting to know you, I suppose.
It's how they connect with you.
Exactly. If you tell your story, they can attach their own story, or they can maybe see themselves in the stories that you tell. And that's what I try to do as a songwriter. But I also, between songs, I like to talk about my life, and I like to make sense of the songs that are coming up, because they're all very autobiographical, and they're very important to sort of setting the table for I don't like to use the word brand, but for lack of a better word, just, I guess, what you're getting yourself into, what you're signing up for when you listen to my music.
Yeah, exactly. And one of those songs was California King, that I mentioned, which got great reception from the crowd. And obviously the backstory there, maybe it's too personal to talk about, but that's what you put into the songwriting.
Yeah, I mean, that song, it's funny. It's actually not about anyone in particular. Like, it's pretty salty, but it's actually more just about the collective person in our lives that we all know who's maybe who thinks of himself a little too much. So it's a good one for people to relate to, because I know we all have somebody like that in our lives.
I believe, I know too many of my friends that fit into that category. But as that was California King off your EP, wasn't it? And then, as you can see, your music style building is becoming a lot more, I don't want to say the word polished, but it's becoming well crafted. Do you see that as an actual step in your progression, like on your career? Is that a deliberate thing?
I think it's may not be deliberate, but I think it is just the way of things. The more you do it, the more streamlined your process becomes, and then the more time you save, which you can invest in perfecting certain things and tweaking certain things. And also, I think as a young artist, you sort of don't like to, at least for me anyway, when I was in the early days of working with producers and stuff, I wasn't always confident speaking my mind,
Of course.
And as time has gone by, and as I've gotten a little more confident in how I want to say things, and I've worked with the same people over and over again, I can be a little more candid about what it is I want. And you also kind of get better at just envisioning exactly how something sounds. And I think that whether deliberate or not, I think it ends up just coming out the longer you do it, because you're just around it all the time.
You're honing your craft as well.
Exactly. You just kind of, those muscles are getting worked and exercised a lot, and it eventually shows in the work, which I think is
and more experience
good
as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
But let's talk about collaboration. Obviously, more experience, because you obviously have co-wrote some songs with people in the past. Is that something that you kind of want to build on? Some big name collabs? Was there any artists that you'd love to hear at festival maybe?
As far as collaborating as songwriters, I mean, I have written with one of my big heroes, Liz Rose, who's was very instrumental in Taylor Swift's early career. I got to do that within the first couple of years of moving to Nashville, so that was pretty amazing. As far as duets and stuff, I feel like, I don't know, like I'm a big fan of Drake Milligan, and he's here. He played last night, and I I wasn't here, but I saw some clips of the set, and it was great. And so I don't know, maybe that's something. Who knows?
No, it'd be interesting to see how you move forward in the collaborations that you work with, because I can see your voice and your style kind of working with a lot of. Is there any British? We've got to say, is there any British artists that you used to work with?
Yesterday I got asked this question, and I said that I'm a big fan of the Spice Girls, and I don't know if they're still touring.
We'll get the reunion on tour with you.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
I would open for them on tour.
You heard it here first. Yeah,
100%. I would do that. But yeah, I think trying to think, Spice Girls is always top of my list. I mean, I also grew up listening to Elton John, and he's also, I think, done touring. So maybe I need to.
Well, he's actually a really famous collaborator as well. He's also working with a lot.
And he's actually, I know that he's kind of speaks highly. Like he's pretty, he's got his finger on the pulse of a lot of country kind of songwriters. Like he's very quick to praise like certain folk and Americana artists because I think he gets some of his inspiration from them. So that's cool to someone who's so iconic to kind of still be kind of looking for inspiration from up and comers. I think that's great.
Cool. Well, let's staying on the British theme. Country music and folk music and stuff has been on the rise steadily here for us. Like this festival itself has grown from a smaller one to the one it is today. Have you found that you've got a large British fan base? Do you find that? Because the reason I ask is because you recently just released your new single,
That's right.
It's Still Mine, and I noticed the buzz, just people finding that like just naturally, and it was great to see.
I think this is only my second time here in the UK, but I do feel very embraced every time I've come. And last time I was here, we played a bit of a showcase in London, and I was truly blown away at how many people actually came and how many media outlets came and were eager to talk after the show. And like, it just seemed there was a very kind of palpable buzz, and it got me really fired up to come back. And it took me 2 years, but I figured out how to come back. And I quite like it. I think the reception has been lovely. And I also think that just my sound is kind of complementary to what people over here might want to hear. And so I think it's a really great match in a way. And so I'm happy to keep coming back and just cultivating the fan base and hopefully giving people what they want.
So before I want to ask you about your next steps, but obviously we kind of rushed through with the questions at the start, and you mentioned that you kind of your Nashville trip, and obviously it's almost like a rite of passage for people kind of in this genre that you have to kind of go to Nashville. Do you think that does that really influence your music? Is that the turning point in your career, or? I
think it made me a better songwriter. I came to Nashville really and this is the story of so many people, is you come to Nashville as a solo writer, and then you get signed to a publishing deal like I did, and then you get put through a ringer of just writing with a whole bunch of different people and really getting over any anxiety you might have or embarrassment you might have about having a bad idea in front of someone else. And I think that it really is something, even if you eventually go back to writing solo, it's something everyone should do, because I think it just helps you look at things from a different perspective, or it helps you get inspired if you have no inspiration on the day and somebody else is singing something you would never think to sing. It's just a really useful tool. And so I encourage people to do it. And I feel like it's really helped me, even though I do still write solo. In fact, the song that just came out is a solo write, and Country Kid, which came out in February, is also a solo write. So like I still do it quite a bit, but I'm happy to say that I'm not afraid to bring someone in if I feel like I need that.
And also maybe not as precious about the lyrics.
That's a great way of putting it. You're not gatekeeping your content so much as just sort of being like, hey, here's a song, what do you think? And just kind of getting an extra set of ears sometimes is very helpful. And I know that that's some people that, they might write a verse, they get stuck on a chorus, they can't think of a good chorus, and then they take it to somebody else and they kind of help them work it out. And that's just a great option.
Yeah, and that creative process obviously helps you build experience-wise as well, because not just from crafting music, but being able to kind of draw in different inspirations for your other stuff. So going to what's next, obviously you're playing the Longway Festival. Are you going to come back here, be on that Rhinestone stage interstate next year?
I would love to be. I hope so. As far as the rest of the year goes, I'm going to Australia for the first time to play a festival down there, and their country music scene is kind of popping off the way it is here in a lot of ways, and so it's really cool to be invited to do that. And I am not sure. I think I might put out one more song before the end of the year. We'll see what happens there. I love putting out new music, and it's just a matter of figuring out where it fits in your schedule and if you can properly give it the proper attention that it needs. But yeah, I also, being Canadian, I am going to the Canadian Country Music Awards next month. They're in BC, which is the west coast of Canada. So I don't need an excuse to go to the west coast of Canada because it's so beautiful, but since I have a reason to go, it's going to be great. So yeah.
So we expect big things from you.
Hope so. I'm going to stay busy as I can.
Well, if anything from the buzz of, He's Still Mine, it's a great track. And
thank you.
I was going to ask you a little bit more about, kind of the meaning behind it. But on stage, you told the audience. And
last night I was thinking back about it, and I thought maybe I did a bit too long of an intro.
No, it was great. It resonated with the audience. And
that's good.
I after kind of seeing performance with Surrender Way, that connects with you.
Well, I hope that's how they interpreted it. I felt like I talked a little too long there, but yeah, I mean,
never to talk too long.
Yeah. Okay,
it's been fantastic to talk to you. Obviously, you're busy. You're going to go on stage in 5-10 minutes, so you're a busy person, and it looks like you're going to be a busy person for the next couple of years. So
hope so.
It's been a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the festival.
For sure. Thanks.
In case you start feeling emotion, it's